and said, we're going to establish it over here like this.
Yes.
Because we don't want to follow the order of things. So now you got Episcopalian, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, Free Will Baptist, Missionary Baptist, and every other kind of name. But who is naming the name of names? Jesus. And so he gets up and the disciples question his authenticity. Church folks question your conversion. They can't understand when you begin to prophesy what thus saith the Lord, when you were just in the car the other night talking some chit-chat going to the club. But then people have a problem that when your lifestyle no longer benefits them, they can't understand who you are. The silversmiths began to speak about him because they were the ones who were constructing the trinkets for the idol worship of the goddess Diana. And they said, wait a minute, now he's messing with my money. Too many people being converted. We no longer have them coming to us to construct the trinkets for the idol worship. We got to get rid of him. When you start talking right, people want to kill you. Even in your family sometimes, they want to shut you down and shut you up. When you begin to speak what thus saith the Lord. And so now there is a conspiracy against Paul. Saying we got to shut him up. He's messing with our money. We don't believe in his authenticity. He is a fake. All the things that people say about you when you come into the knowledge of the truth. All the things, your past becomes ammunition for the enemy to constantly be throwing your way. Because they refuse to see God in you. And Paul had it in his mindset to return to Jerusalem after all of his journeys and establishing the church in Ephesus and establishing the church at Antioch and establishing the church at Philippi. He was still had a desire to go back to Jerusalem, but the word came. The word was on the street. They're going to get you. They got it in for you. Don't return there. But there's something about when you know who's got your back. That you can go in the midst of turmoil and chaos and confusion and not be scared.
Yes, right.
He said, I got to return there because God had already told him. He said, you're going to be held in chains. He said, but it's all for my glory. Because one thing about it, all of those who were after him would catapult him toward speaking before kings, and that had already been prophesied about him, that he was going to stand before kings and give his testimony. And so Paul said, I got to go to Jerusalem, and was in Jerusalem where he was captured in the temple, doing the work of God. The people came in speedily and captured him. And Paul said, before you take me to the jail, let me just speak to the people. Let me speak for myself. There is a time that in your life, prior to your conversion, there won't nothing you can say about what was being said about you, because it was so.
Oh, wow.
You right.
Come on. Because
you have no defense when you in sin.
It's
true. Come on now. If you were an adulterer, it was so. If you were a crackhead, it was so. And the only thing you could do was hang your head in shame, but there was no defense you could give to that.
Come on now.
And people were sending out press releases against you. And the atmosphere was flooded, Marisha, about who you were and what you used to do. And everybody was talking, Mario. They were just talking. And they were throwing out stuff. And you weren't saying nothing because you couldn't say nothing. You didn't have a defense. But on the Damascus Road, Paul became certified.
Come on now.
Certified means that he had someone to vouch for him. That's what certification is. It means that somebody can now vouch for me. That they have given me an assignment that they guarantee that I can stand up under. And so Paul said, I want to speak to the mob. And he began to explain to them what had happened Damascus Road, he could speak for himself now because he could speak from his experience. He no longer was going under the authority of the chief priest. He was no longer going after because of what he had heard or what he had read, but now he had an experience and he was certified by Jesus. Not only was he certified, but he was qualified because he had met the requirement of by his apostleship. He got up in obedience to God and went about to preach and teach the word of God, which gave him qualification to speak for himself. So now he stands certified and qualified to say, I am a believer. Because let me tell you what happened to me on the Damascus Road. And let me tell you something. If your assignment does not breed opposition, you better check whether it be of God.
Oh, wow.
Anything that God assigns you to has got to be a threat to the enemy's kingdom. And if he's not opposing you in your assignment, it's because he's already in it and is sealed. Okay? But anytime that God gives you an assignment, you can rest assured that there's going to be opposition in that assignment. So Paul is taken into captivity. Even when he spoke to the people pretty much turned a deaf ear to what he was saying. And that's okay because it's working for your good. Everybody is not going to be able to receive you. But in the midst of it, God is strengthening you and giving you momentum to keep moving forward.
Thank you, God.
There's something about when you are opposed that you turn on your knees before